have it, guys. Big George Foreman, the lean, mean, fat reducing machine master, calls Lennox Leeis the best fighter of all time. Big up England, big up. Listen, George Foreman goes on to say this, okay? He says that Foreman praises Lennox Leeis and achievements, putting him alongside boxing legends like Muhammad Ali, stating there's no doubt that he's the best heavyweight of all time. What he's done clearly puts him on the top of the heap. Do you agree? And let me counterpunch. I think Lennox Leeis in the last 30 years has the most complete heavyweight resume based on what he's done, based on his losses, based on his avengements from his losses, which was 2, okay? And he's done them both. One was a oopsie, the other one was a beatdown, okay? Because McCall did drop Lennox Leeis and had him on Queer Street. It was stopped. Then he came back in a weird fashion, which that was, all on McCall. That's not Lennox Lewis's fault that McCall came in half cocked or unglued or whatever you want to call him that night. It was just straight up weird. But Evander Holyfield, the discrimination he went through with America, fighting Holyfield in America. So he clearly beat him. Mike Tyson was way past his prime, but he did settle the score with Mike because Mike needed to be humbled, and he was humbled by the ass whooping that Lennox Leeis gave him, which he admitted himself, right? So I think the biggest or the best thing or the most impressive thing that Lennox Leeis did was fight Vitaly Klitschko. I think fighting him at his prime, okay, when he was on the way out, that was probably the most impressive because, if you look at guys like Floyd, Money Mayweather, he would never do something that courageous, okay, in Floyd's mind, that foolish, as far as fighting someone that's hungry, fighting someone that's in their prime, fighting someone that's young, of course. I think that's pretty much the creme de la creme. Now, he could have done more, okay? He could have fought Vitaly again based on the way that fight ended, okay? So, yes, he gets credit for fighting him, but the way the fight was stopped, it wasn't by a knockdown. It wasn't by a knockout. It was by a stoppage due to a cut, okay? So, that's not something that you just praise, okay? So, being the greatest of all time, no. I would call him alongside some of the greatest, sure. Yeah, you can throw Lennox Leeis in there, absolutely, but just being the greatest, no. Because to be great, it's not what you do on the inside. All of what you do on the inside of the ring is what you do outside of the ring as well. See, guys like Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, guys like that, and now you're looking at the Klitschkos they're fighting over in the war. Okay, those things are looked upon overall character, That's creating the character of the example champion that you want to be or others want to follow. Okay, so like Muhammad Ali, he had the civil rights movement. He had discrimination issues, him fighting for his name, him fighting against the war, which in hindsight, they admit was wrong anyways. No one should have ever came over there. So a lot of things built Muhammad Ali, on the outside, okay? Not just what he did on the inside. The inside pretty much showed that, hey, he was a hell of a fighter, but also a hell of a man. Lennox Leeis, I think that's missing from his overall necessity to be one of the greatest. Because, again, it's not what you do on the inside of the ring all the time. It's what you also do on the outside. So, and not saying he hasn't contributed, because I know he has his gyms in Jamaica training younger fighters or whatnot, how to become champions and fighters and successful fighters and all that good stuff. But understand, I think with Lennox Lewis, he's one of the best in the ring, but I think the character is missing a bit when you're dealing with that, you know. But yeah, he's an absolute lion when it comes to the ring. I just wish that he had the character, I mean, that character comparable to Muhammad Ali to go with it. You know what I'm saying? Because no doubt about it, he can ring your bell and knock you out and give you hell. Bars. But after all, though, if you look at Lennox Lewis is a guy that really wasn't liked. Okay, maybe that's a choice, but I mean, it's all about character or what you choose to do in your career. Okay, and how you move, personality wise. You know, a lot of that has to do with how people view you of being the greatest. Now, George Foreman, the oldest heavyweight champion ever, okay, you know, he's looked at and he has his own legacy. But looking at Lennox Lewis was one of the best fighters to put on the gloves, sure. But overall, the greatest of all time comes with something else, a reverence, you know, that character acknowledgement of what he did besides boxing that came to bring everything full circle. Okay, so I think that's where he's lacking. But other than that, I think he's one of the greatest. You guys tell me what you think of George Foreman stating that Lennox Lewis is the greatest fighter of all time, or heavyweight of all time. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.